Greetings, everybody. Happy Wednesday to you. I know y'all haven't seen me in a while, um, but I've just been living and happily living, actually. So, yeah. Um, but I see everything that's going on in the current environment. I really do. And things are changing. Really, that's just the way it is. And what I'm watching is a lot of people not having the ability to manage change properly. A lot of people don't know how to deal with change. Um, they hold on to it. They hold on to the way that things used to be. They hold on to who they used to be, where they used to be. And it's actually a little embarrassing to watch on some levels. But I always see things different. And this is an inspired conversation just because there's so much going on. And, I just want to share a different viewpoint of what we're all looking at, right? Um, Everything has to change. It's the only constant on this planet is change, right? And depending on your relationship with change, you may not work with it well. You may fight it. You may, it makes you fumble. It makes you move, but it's always a shakeup. And depending on how you deal with shakeups, will and can determine where you'll be on the opposite side of that change. So you're seeing a shift in energy, a shift in power, from Democrats and Republicans, from elites to non-elites, to from those. It's just turning on its head because it has to, and then it'll turn back again. How long that'll be, we don't know. But what I've seen over the years, and now I'm seeing play out in real time, is people's desire or lack thereof to be a good person. We got to a point where everything was acceptable, right? There is no line, and being a good person means everything's okay. Everything is okay. I have no boundaries. I have no standards. I have no real morals, and I have no real backbone or line. And you see these people who consider themselves leaders or whatever, and what they can't do is stand on firm principles. Why? Because if they do, then they feel as if they're not relatable to the common person, because the common person is not necessarily a great person. They're not a person that has real morals, real standards, and is firm on what they believe, right? So you have all these people who consider themselves leaders, or people in the forefront, and they don't, they're over sexualized, and it's okay for that, right? They're not committed to anything, and it's okay for that. They don't really speak up for anything that they actually practice, and it's okay for that, because for them, in their mind, it keeps them relatable because they don't want to be too good. And in truth, it's not that they're trying to be relatable, it's that they don't want to be held accountable. Because now, once you say I'm a leader, once you say I'm a preacher, once you say I'm a teacher, once you say I'm a mother or father, people hold you to a certain standard. And it was a point where being held to that standard was what it was, but it had no line. You didn't have to be a decent person. Sometimes I slip up, sometimes I do this, sometimes I do that. People sometimes don't actually slip up, and they live by what they say they live by. And it was a point where that was a real thing, and people were held accountable to do exactly what they said they would do, be exactly who they said they would be, and walk the walk, not just talk the talk. So what I'm seeing It's a future. I'm not sure how long it'll be. But in the future, people are now going to be held accountable when they step up. Everybody's looking for results today. They're looking for people to produce, not just to speak. They're looking for people to walk the walk and not just talk the talk. How long it's going to take for that to balance out, we shall see. But I'm interested in looking at and watching how this plays out, because based on my feeling, leaders who say they're leaders, teachers who say they're teachers, husbands who say they're husbands, wives who say they're wives, it's not just I'm a wife, I'm a husband, I'm a mother, I'm a father, I'm a preacher, I'm a teacher. These are the standards that what I say I am should meet, and I'm going to meet all of those standards, because if I don't, people don't believe me and they will hold me accountable. So we're watching that shift. Let's just see how it plays out. That's an inspired conversation, just a difference of opinion and a different viewpoint from what everybody really is seeing. I see it like that, and I'm looking forward to people having to be who they say they are, and especially Black America as a culture holding people accountable for being who they say they are. That's all I have to say. Y'all be well and stay well. All is always well. Peace.